Salutations everyone, Shadowtaurus here, and I'm back with another power scaling video for you guys. So I've noticed that I haven't done a Dragon Ball video in quite some time. So I've decided to try out a new type of video that a friend gave to me. This is taking each Dragon Ball Z saga and ranking the characters from weakest to strongest. But before the video starts, I need you all to hit the like button, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe to the channel. Also click the notification bell to know when I upload next. Finally, I want you all to know that I have a YouTube membership program. For those of you who don't want to go to Patreon, you can now support me on my YouTube membership program. So if you have the money to support me, click and join. You get some cool rewards like seeing videos earlier than the public. Now, I do need to set some groundwork for this video. Firstly, we will only be taking looks at characters from this saga, meaning we will only be using characters that are introduced or appear in this saga. Secondly, we are only ranking fighters, so no farmer with a shotgun, since very obviously he would solo the entire verse, and that's just unfair. And the final rule is that I will only be sticking to the manga interpretation of these characters. As much as I love the anime, the manga in my opinion makes scaling far more simpler. However, we will be using guidebooks for these characters and supplementary material to scale them. And before I forget, we will be taking the characters at the peaks of their power in these arcs. This is so I only need to list the character once. So without further ado, let's start this off right with number 12. So when it comes to the bottom of our list, we have to put Chaozu here. Now, Chaozu is not very impressive in this arc. His max power level by the end of it is about 610, which is the weakest power level we see at the end of the arc. Now, he does have self-destruction abilities, but these were unable to significantly damage Nappa. Granted, Nappa was much stronger than him, about 6 times as much, and it doesn't even take into consideration that power levels are exponential in nature, but he just doesn't have enough in this arc to put him above my current placement, so Chaozu is starting us off at number 12. Now, number 11 is going to follow a similar theme, that being Yajirobe. Now, from what we know and what the guidebooks have shown us, Yajirobe has a power level of 970 by the end of the arc. Now, a lot of you may be wondering, why is he so low on the list when he managed to cut off Grade 8 Vegeta's tail? And to that I say, it was an off-guard feat, so that wouldn't scale to Yajirobe to Grade 8 Vegeta level. Now, what about the feats he does show? Well, he doesn't really have a lot except injuring a off-guard, extremely fatigued Vegeta, so at best that might scale him above Chaozu, but so does the power level he has, so good for him, he's number 11. Now, number 10 on this list is going to be the Cybermen. Yes, I'm grouping all of the Cybermen into one rank because they're exactly the same from what we see. Now, all of the Cybermen boast a power level of 1200, which significantly surpass the previous ranks. But what do Cybermen do? Well, not as much as you'd think. The Cybermen have a good feat of being able to kill someone stronger than them with their self-destruction. However, the gap in power was not that big, except if you take exponential power levels. But we'll get to that in just a moment. But the Cybermen can't rank any higher as everyone above them has shown the ability to or are implied to be able to beat a Cyberman. So let's move on to number 9. Now, at number 9, we have everyone's favorite punching bag, Yamcha. Now, Yamcha actually does have some decent scaling in this arc. He has a power level of 1480, which is a good bit higher than a Cyberman. And from what we see of their fight, in a straight up match, Yamcha can comfortably win against the Cyberman. But this is where we need to talk about why Yamcha lost that fight, that being his cockiness. He ended up drawing the match because the Cyberman was able to catch him off guard and self-destruct, killing him. This is why I put him at number 9. That and every other person above him should win, with the exception of our next pick, number 8. Now, number 8 on this list is actually going to be Raditz. Now, before anyone jumps down my throat saying that Vegeta and Nappa said that Raditz was around the strength of a Cyberman, this is not accurate because all of the supplementary material we have ever gotten has stated his power level is 1500, which is a bit higher than Yamcha's and a great deal higher than a Cyberman's. Now, here's what I'll say on this quick fight. I definitely think Yamcha has a good chance of winning against Raditz. However, I think the difference lies in Raditz having a slightly higher power level and Yamcha being very cocky. So I think Raditz could definitely pull a win. Because of this slight difference in power level, I think Raditz may pull it more times than not. However, if you believe Yamcha could win, that's fine. But this is not who could win the fight, this is who is stronger, and Raditz is stronger. So Raditz belongs at number 8. Now at number 7 on this list we have Krillin. Now alongside Piccolo, Krillin actually was able to land some hits on Nappa, though it didn't seem to do much damage, it's still impressive. As well, while he was enraged, he was able to destroy multiple Cybermen in a single blast, which would put him above Raditz. What also places him above Raditz is his high power level of 1770. Now this is incredibly powerful and much higher than Raditz, and this does not even take into account his Destructo Disc, which can hurt people significantly above his own pay grade. Taking that to account, you might even able to argue he might be higher, or be able to at least beat people who are higher than him on this list. But in terms of purely strength, this is the highest I can scale him. Now, number 6 on this list is going to be the strongest human in this arc, that being Tien Shinhan. Now, Tien has a power level of 1830, which is significantly above most of the people below him with the exception of Krillin. However, it may still be high enough that Krillin probably couldn't take him in a fight. Tien also was able to fairly and effortlessly deal with the Cybermen, so him scaling above them shouldn't be any surprise. Now a lot of people might say, but Krillin beat multiple Cybermen at once. And while this is true, if power levels are anything to go off of, that doesn't mean Tien can't do a similar feat. And one final thing to note is that Tien's Tri-Beam was able to do significant damage to Nappa, which should also put him above Krillin. Now finally for number 5, to get into our top 5, is actually going to be Gohan. Now a lot of people might be shocked to see him this high on the list, and starting off our top 5, but there's a reason for this. Now Gohan's power level tends to fluctuate during the arc due to his emotions, but from what the guidebooks tell us about his power level, he caps out at about 2800. Now a lot of people are going to argue, oh, that was just Gohan using the Masenko. But the guidebooks always show it's angry Gohan who hit Nappa. So, while you might be able to argue it, it's not the most easy sell that the Masenko Gohan is the only one who should scale to 2800. This is also fairly consistent as Gohan was able to fight relative to a fatigued and angry Vegeta. So, take that as you will. Now, number 4 on our list is actually starting us off with Piccolo. Now in the guidebooks, his canonical power level is 3500. This is shown fairly well as Piccolo actually lands some good hits on Nappa with Krillin's help. But one of his best feats that no one seems to talk about is him tanking Nappa's Bomber DX without dying instantly. Yes, he did die from it, but he was able to withstand it and protect Gohan, whereas Gohan was simply going to be crushed by Nappa's foot. So, him scaling above Gohan is fairly consistent. Now, number 3 on our list should be very obvious, that being Nappa. Nappa in this arc is stated to have a power level of 4000, but what a lot of people don't realize is that Nappa may have gotten stronger through this arc. This is because when he started his fight with Goku, Nappa was getting clowned on completely. But after a while, we see Nappa is actually able to fight relative with Goku, even is able to have his mouth beam stalemate Goku's Kamehameha. So you could argue at this point, his power level may have achieved a similar level as Goku's base, somewhere above 8000. This does make sense, as we do know that Saiyans are able to adapt and grow stronger mid-fight, which firmly puts Nappa in the top 3 of the arc. Now, number 2 in this arc should surprise no one, but this is going to be Son Goku. Now, there is no contention that Goku should be this high on the list. Even without Kaioken, he surpassed Nappa's starting power level and rivals post-adaptation Nappa. As well, his Kamehameha was able to cancel out Nappa's strongest attack. But adding Kaioken on top of that, which he can do times 2 safely and times 3 in desperate times, it's no wonder why he's the second strongest in the Saiyan saga. Number 1 is obviously Vegeta. Had Gohan and Krillin not intervened, Goku would have lost his fight. Same with Yajirobe cutting off his tail. Vegeta even in base is at 18,000, which surpasses Kaioken times 2 Goku, who is vaguely above 16,000. But in his grade 8 form, he reaches an all-time high of 180,000, so there's no question why he tops this list. But that's just my opinion. If you liked the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until we meet again, good luck in your power scaling endeavors.